What's good, yeah, and welcome to this video. So, in this one, we are going to be having a closer look at Wrath, exclusive gear, and also exclusive artifacts. And we kind of try to, or want to see if it's even worth the effort. So, exclusive gear has been out for quite a while now, but is it really worth it to strive for? Should you even care if you, let's say, pull the gear? So, what we have right here is in the new skin, a Wrath that wears not only his exclusive weapon, I know it's kind of shitty, but it gets the job done, right? As well as also the Nightmare Council exclusive, which with an extra percentage chance to hit. And then also the Flaming Pauldrons exclusive artifact, which increases damage dealt to elites, reduces the ultimate duration, increases damage dealt during ultimate, and allows heavy blows to penetrate 20% defense. Depending on how it goes, we might even have to change it into the 25 artifact, but we'll have to see. And then the competitor is obviously going to be the old days Wrath. We all know and love him Wrath. If you're wondering about the variant gear, because it looks so shiny, it does extra attack speed, so just imagine this attack speed being a bit higher. So yeah, he's going to be the classical Warlord slash Sorbonne Arcana Wrath, whether it's the new and improved, or maybe not even improved, we have to see. Wicked Vengeance slash Cataclysm Bangle Wrath. So yeah. Stat-wise, there is slight differences, like you can for example see that there's a difference of around 30 to 40 attack speed, around 1000 attack, and around 25% crit damage. So reason being is the attack here is higher because attack is part of the Warlord set, as well as the attack speed is higher because once again that's kind of the effect of the Warlord set. And here we have lower attack but higher crit damage because of the Wicked Vengeance set. So yeah, you can't get around using Wicked Vengeance on Wrath if you do actually manage to get your hands on his weapon. So what I really wanted to see if all these fancy shenanigans do actually prove worth it, and also depending on the numbers of Wailing Sky, because the space sets are a bit lower in comparison to others, we might even swap over to, for example, a Realm tier or maybe even a Shattered Hilt. We'll have to see. So we kind of, yeah, we just want to let them go head to head and see if it's really worth the effort to actually look for these resources and then swap your Wrath over into a different set.
Our research begins.
So to kind of set the baseline for this one, we'll be taking on AMR 18, which takes around 10 million damage. This ready to go thing in the top right there is our timer. So we'll be going in, placing everything down, having the formation ready, and then as soon as Wrath goes in and starts dealing damage, we obviously activate the timer. Besides that, there's not really much to say. Also, we'll be doing it on 2 times speed because it's just going to take too long. Furthermore, we don't even really have to click anything because we're talking about auto ultimates. Alright, so yeah, it's pretty much just going to be us preparing our formation first and then putting in Wrath last. So, Vortex in to kind of ensure that everybody stays alive nice and easy. And then around here when we're getting closer to that 16 cost, we can obviously start the timer, get Wrath in, put it to 2 times speed, and off we go. Okay, I have no real idea what to expect, but yeah, I guess Wrath is doing a good job. Obviously there's some Wailing Skull RNG potentially, but you can see even if he places him down there, he's still able to hit. Everybody survives the ground smashes, so that's also perfect. It doesn't really make a difference what Vortex does. And we gotta kind of hope that Abomination can deal with these fused guys. Same goes for Volker at the bottom there. I guess we kind of help her out a bit, not that it really makes a difference. And yeah, so far Wrath is doing a good job. He's doing about as well as you would expect. Otherwise we'll once again help Volker out a bit. And we're closing in on the 1 minute mark. Once more we get everything summoned, we can activate the ultimate, do another save here, and then there we go. So it was around probably what, 130. I should probably hit like the pause button rather than the reset button. As always, if you want to help me out a bit, consider leaving a like, a comment on the results right here, or even who you want to see next, or if I should swap up the methods, the way I approach this in this video. And then if you really do like what you're seeing and want to see more of it, consider subscribing. Alright, so the time to beat is 57 seconds. We've swapped in the Wrath with the skin to differentiate between the two, which means it is go time 57 seconds. Hard to say if that's super fast or super slow, but we'll be opening up with pretty much exactly the same moves as we did before. So even here we'll also just put in a Volker. Obviously the other way it was it was a bit different, right? It was the other way around with us placing Volker first, but to be honest, I don't think it truly makes a difference. Which means we just go to 17 cost, placed on Vortex to ensure that everybody stays alive, and then lastly we'll obviously just have to placed on Wrath, which means once more, once we get closer to that 16 second mark or 16 cost mark, we just quickly hit the pause button, start the timer, place in Wrath, put it into 2 times speed, and let's have a look. So Wrath obviously starting off pretty decently, I guess you could say. We're now a 6th there, and there's still around ooh, I don't know. Okay, so we're 2/3 there. Timing wise, we're also a 1/3 there. So it looks like it's going to be rather kind of like a head-to-head scenario, really. So that's 45%, 37 seconds, 39 seconds, 40 seconds. Ooh, that doesn't look good. It doesn't really look like a clear winner. We're looking at 50 seconds, 10%, 51. It's getting close. 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58. So a second slower. How very conclusive, isn't it? After the super conclusive result in AMR, it's time we see if the difference is actually in the distance, which means we'll be taking on Nightmare 4. This is the following team. We have obviously Yuri, just because she's new. She'll also provide that defense down because Toro isn't here, but it's not really that important. Otherwise we have Mary for the permanent vulnerabilities, and then it's just going to be a normal cycle strat. Furthermore, the one boosted by Laurel is actually most likely going to be Wukong, just because he does more damage. Arrogance is really there kind of like as a benchmark, and Wrath in all cases is going to be ending up outside of Laurel range anyway, which means we kind of have to see who brings the most value without the Laurel boost, right? So both of them are going to be tested in the exact same scenario, and also exactly after this we'll be already cutting over to the results. So here we go. So here we are at the damage screen for our normal Wrath, which you can see his profile picture still shows the normal one. Something that just falls into the eye naturally is obviously that Arrogance was putting out 110 million in comparison to Wukong with only 126 million. Might just have to do that I was running him in IR, but it doesn't really make this that important, because the important part right here is obviously Wrath. Wrath was able to clock in around 66.1 million, and now we have to see if there's like a significant noticeable improvement by going the exclusive and all that route. So here we are with Wrath and his exclusive gear plus exclusive artifact plus this and that, and the answer actually turns out to be around a 5% difference. So yeah, we had I think 66 million before, now we're looking at 69,690, so 69, which is obviously pretty great. But besides that, there isn't too crazy of a margin, though at the end of the day 5% are 5% and 3 million are 3 million. I guess lastly we still have to do two things, which was obviously be one Guild Wars 2 run, just to see if it's like really way more visually seeable if you take it into Guild Wars 2, because keep in mind we have this exclusive artifact where, for example, we penetrate 20% defense, and yeah, otherwise after that we'll obviously get to our conclusion. So terrible dreaded hours of Guild Boss 2 have been finished, and this is pretty much the conclusion you can take. So the difference between a Wrath in our classical set and our Wrath in exclusive gear with all that beautiful stuff actually ends up dealing, you could say, 10% more. He can deal around 10% more damage when it comes to Guild Boss 2. So for example, also in the run without Wrath, we got blocked at a shield at a 48,000 score, and with the other one we would have been able to go past the 48,000 score. So a 10% difference can actually be a make or break. So at least in Guild Boss 2 the effect is clearer, but it is still nothing amazing. It's not like you're going to get a Silas with a bond skill that's going to do 2 times the damage all of a sudden. So yeah, realistically speaking, it's there, right? It is better, but it is not to an extent that you're really going to notice, or to an extent where you would have to give up everything and search for it in the search of glory. So overall, what even were the effects that this Wrath had in comparison to the normal one? So not only was he dealing 50% more damage during heavy blows, had a 5% chance to deal damage in extra time, and also he had this 15% increased damage to elites and bosses while reducing the ultimate effect duration, meaning shorter ultimates, but he can then ult more overall, while also doing 30% more damage during the ultimate, as well as having his AoE heavy blow hits on only one target ignore defense. So yeah, overall this, for the amount of effort you need to go through, for the amount of pieces you need to get, because let's have a look at the quality here. Like, this piece is pretty bad, okay? It has good attack, crit rate, but then nothing else. This chest piece, on the other hand, already has attack percent, crit rate, crit damage from the proper set. Obviously you could have maybe, for example, gone a step further, but that's really pointless, at least for this video. Otherwise, here we also have a quad stat variant Cataclysm Bangle with obviously the variant effect not really doing much. The main help, I guess you could say, for making a Cataclysm set would really have to be the fact that exclusive gear at least rolls with 2, especially after the fixes now, 2 proper stats. So you should be able to, rather than with this, calculate something more like this, where you have like fixed crit rate, fixed crit damage, and then you just need to get a bit lucky to get, for example, attack speed. This piece obviously completely disgusting, crit rate, crit damage, golden attack with the 5% boost. Again, here it's also easier to expect a proper piece once you have a nightmare one. So yeah, it is harder to get. We just need more ways, and I don't really know if it's like really all that worth it, right? You kind of expected this Wrath to become like super crazy and maybe compete a bit more with others, but it just ended up being like a 5 to 10% damage increase. So yeah, but no doubt, especially if you think about it, maybe even in future content, I know it's hard to always speculate about future content, but we will get a tower and such, and maybe, just maybe, getting a Wrath in his exclusive gear, or even just in his exclusive artifact, might be a solution for a certain stage, because no doubt Wrath is still a very, very strong unit with normal targets, multi-target, and most importantly in his awakening right here, the self-heal that we all know and love, as well as also furthermore him just having a 15% crit chance on top of everything, and also a 20% chance to hit twice rather than once. So overall, I still really like Wrath, but you don't really have to be looking for all these exclusive pieces all that much.